Okay. Good morning. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today at the November 13th Lower Merion School District Facilities and Purchasing Meeting. This meeting is being recorded. What we would like to do in this meeting, since it's all online, we'd like to have you, if any community members are joining us today, please raise your hand and you can speak on topics on the agenda that we are discussing at the moment. And so I will say, as we begin, let's start with our first agenda item, the list of bills. Does any of the board have any questions?
I had a question. Mine is sort of more generalized, Mr. Orlando. I was looking at particularly at our charter school payments, and my understanding was that there was a certain set tuition for general ed students and special ed students. Is that correct? Is that the way it works? Or is it different school by school?
No, it's the same tuition rate, regular ed or special ed for charter school students, no matter what school.
And that's statewide?
Well, there's a formula, so it's not the same. Our tuition rate differs depending upon the school district's financial budget information that's
Oh,
completed.
depending on our district's budget information or the district where the school
No,
is
it's
sitting?
based upon our information. So it's our budget information and our child accounting enrollment information that is used to determine the tuition rate. So it differs from school district to school district.
And my understanding is that for special ed services, it's the same if the kid receives any special ed services versus whether they so if a child is receiving half an hour of speech versus having a one-to-one aid 100% of the time, that's the same tuition for that special education student?
That is correct.
Okay.
And it's different between cyber now and brick and mortar for special.
Oh, it is. Okay, that was my next question.
It does differ.
So when we're seeing different different amounts on the list of bills here, it's because there's different number of students going to that school, and maybe because they have different payment schedules?
No, I mean so each charter school has different number of students that are regular and special ed, so that will differ. And then the students differ from enrollment from month to month. So you might have 3 students in 1 month, then it might be 2 the next month. So it varies. And that's why our registrar office and child account office, they go through every month to make sure that they're enrolled properly and I guess members of the community.
Okay. And you may not know this, but if you happen to know, do you know how many students we currently have enrolled in charter schools in our district? If you don't, it's totally okay. It's a curiosity, not a necessity.
Yeah, roughly somewhere, I'm going to say between 30 to 50 students.
Okay.
Just ballpark it. I can get you that number.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's just my residual trauma for how much we paid in that year when everything closed for COVID and a lot of people put their kids in charter schools, and I'm just always a little nervous about those payments. But I just wanted to make sure my information was correct, and I appreciate that clarity. That's my only question.
Thanks, Shada. Actually, can I ask one question on top of that? Did anything ever happen in Harrisburg about lowering, capping the cyber school charter rates, or is that still something that people are advocating for, but it hasn't happened?
They're still advocating for. There's been no law that's been passed. I don't know as part of the new budget that was approved anything happened, but there's nothing to my knowledge has been passed.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
Yes, if there's any community members in here that are listening and you want it to be really, really helpful to maximizing the budget of your local tax dollars, if you wanted to write to your representatives and state senators about supporting charter school reform in the state of Pennsylvania, that would be the best way to help on that.
Yeah, thanks. Definitely. Any other questions from the board members?
No, thank you. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
I have one curiosity question. I was looking at Sally's car service, and I noticed that the amount on a monthly basis fluctuates quite extensively, and I wondered why that is so. This must be a Mr. Bilson's question, but unless somebody else has that information.
That's Sarah Car Care. That's one of our, I know that their name is always confusing. It's really not car care. They transport students for us, just like Atlas and Balgo. It's one of our contractors. So it depends on the months, how many days are months, how many students they transport. If students don't go, they don't go. So that amount always varies. We keep adding sometimes new runs, so it can go up and down. That's why it's not steady number.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, this is the one we use a lot for students in special ed for special that needs special services.
Yeah, we use per special ed, and this specific contractor is only one that really has high ceiling vans and can accommodate multiple wheelchairs per van. So they are unique in that way, but it's all only used for special needs.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. It was just a curiosity question. Are there any community members that may have some questions? Please raise your hand.
I do not see any raised hands.
Okay, thank you. So we're good to move this forward?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
Yes, thanks, Mel.
thanks. Okay, next item. Purchasing report, Mr. Olindo.
Oh, wait, before we move on, Ms. Seltzer has her hand raised.
Oh, we do have a question. Okay.
Hi, Adrian Seltzer, Winwood. I again have a question about the fact that you're spending tens of thousands of dollars a month on credit card bills without letting us know who the vendors are. I think that it shows a lack of transparency because some of those bills are really high. Some of the individual charges are really high. And I've been nagging about this, and I will continue to nag about this periodically. But if you take a look at the Visa, all right, there's $1,600 to who knows who, 1,100 to who knows who, 3,600 to who knows who. And the other credit card bill, the Amazon, which I have an issue with the school districts spending that much money on Amazon because of who owns Amazon. But that's a whole other issue. You could just add, you could have line 17 just say Visa commercial services, and that line be blank, and then the rest of the lines have the vendors, have the actual companies that you're purchasing from. It's not that difficult.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Seltzer, for that input. I know we've been looking into this previously, and
yeah, I've been nagging you guys intermittently.
I know.
Meister, if I could make a comment here.
Sure.
Yeah, I commented on this with another community member not too long ago. Maybe I don't know if it was before September, but we're very much in compliance with the law. Number one. Number two, we're not trying to hide anything. What you're asking us to do will take hours and hours and hours of man time, and there'll be hundreds of vendors on the list. If it's really that important and you want to make an appointment with Mr. Orlando for to check out those things, he's offered to do that. But we're not going to put those vendors on this list. It'll just be too much time. And again, we're in compliance with the law. We're not trying to hide anything. I promise you that.
Well, then how about a compromise on any expenses over $1,000? Any charges over $1,000? I do my Quicken, I do my credit card thing on there. It doesn't take hours and hours and hours.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you think it doesn't, but for us to make sure that we present all that information right, it would. So we're going to continue to do it this way. And again, if you're interested, you can make an appointment and come see the vendors that we spend.
Just to follow up, as you're looking, so if you look, just as an example, if you're looking at line 30, it says $1,916. That doesn't necessarily mean a single expenditure of $1,916. The way the accounting works is that for that specific type of expenditure. There could have been multiple ones. So it doesn't necessarily mean somebody's out there spending $2,000 on this one thing. That
But
it could
that's
be.
not, that's, you
I-
have two things that are that same account. So it's obviously two different things. Come on, guys, I have a degree in accounting. Don't, you know, I think that if there weren't things, here's something that's account 610, something else account 610. Here's 810, 810. Here's another 610. So you are separating them out. So try again.
Okay,
Thank
well,
you for your input.
yeah, thank you for your input as well. And as Dr. Ranelli said, you could make an appointment and come see these items.
Yeah, then maybe we can have a discussion on why they think it's so difficult to do.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so moving, we've already approved the list of bills, so we'll be moving to the purchasing report. And I believe the first item on the list are buses for purchase.
So good morning, Ms. Schaffmeister. We will have Mr. Vilsons speak to items 1 and 2 on the purchasing report, and then Mr. Pitts will speak to items 3 and 4. So we will let Aldous take the stage.
Good morning again.
Morning.
I would like to ask the board to approve purchase of 11 diesel 72 passenger type D school buses. Type D is the the bus that we use the most. It's a flat nose bus. And these 11 buses will replace our older buses in the fleet. Some of the older buses are CNG buses that need to be replaced, especially since the CNG bus is no longer produced. We are very concerned that at some point we may not be able to get parts for the CNG buses in our fleet. I'll do the both, and then I can answer questions. And the other one is 3 30-passenger buses that we use for special needs students. We also use them for transporting non-public students to schools that have fewer students. So we don't run a big bus there. 3 of the Thomas, what they call mini tour buses, 30-passenger seating. They're replacing 3 other buses that had that are also need to be replaced due to age and hours of service.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Yes. Oh,
You go
if I
ahead.
may, can you just touch base just and explain a little bit about the trade-in credit, what that entails, and specifically why we're only receiving $11,000 for the 11 buses, as well as for the 3 buses, only $2,400.
We'll start with 11 buses. The buses we're trading in are fairly close to end of life. They have rust issues, so dealer doesn't feel they can resell it. And like I said, most of them are CNG. There is no market for CNG because the CNG buses no longer produce, so there is no districts really looking to buy CNG buses. And there is one diesel bus we're trading in, but that's like 13 years old and there is a rust issue, so it's really not resellable. With the same basic issue with the 30-passenger buses, they are just not resellable. 2 of them are actually, years ago we bought them for partner schooling. They are 20-passenger bus, so it's really not effective because you can park 20 or 30-passenger bus and get 10 more extra seating capacity. So they just really don't have a resale value for a dealership at this point. They almost give us some scrap metal value of the bus.
Thank you. I appreciate it. What's the life expectancy of these new buses, and how long the buses that we're trading in and upgrading, how long have we had those for?
Aldous, I can cover those because I already
Okay.
ran those numbers. Thank you, Mr. Herman. You may recall back on May 15th, we had done some projections about the bus fleet as a whole. And we're comfortable taking our buses to 10, maybe 11 years old. The diesels, we usually can get a little more life out of that. We do take buses to 12, 13 years old, where feasible and where practical. And again, as Mr. Vils has stated, sometimes the rust gets it, and then you're dealing with it with a totally different issue that's somewhat out of our control. So I would say maybe 11 years ish on the lifespan of a bus. The diesel bus that Mr. Vilson's referred to, that went into service on October 1st of 2013. Keep in mind, if we order these buses this month, we may not get them till next summer because of the lead time. So it's very likely that that bus 117, when the new one arrives, we'll be trading in a 13-year-old bus. And again, that's really the edge of where we'd want to operate based on reliability. And then, unfortunately, with all the salt on the roads and everything else, it then becomes a frame and a corrosion issue. I'm sorry, the 30 passenger bus and the 221s that we're trading in, we put the 30 passenger bus in service on August of 2016. The 221s went into service on September of 2016. So you figure if we receive those new buses on or about September 1st of 2026, we've taken those buses to like a 10-year anniversary. So like I said, if you go back to that May 15th, we kind of have been mapping out and forecasting the fleet so that we can obviously get the most utilization and obviously get the most value, and you don't want to trade them in too soon. But that's right about where they land.
Perfect. Thank you. And I appreciate you guys doing this early enough where we're not reacting, but we're being proactive as well since they're near their end of life. So thank you.
Yeah, and it also helps me to think about that was definitely what I was going to ask was about sort of the usage cycle. And it helps to think about it's not quite a one-to-one with one's own personal car. It's not like you're just driving it to work in the grocery store and whatever things. These buses get very, very heavy use and are out in every day in every kind of weather. So it's not necessarily exactly the same. My question was kind of what our lead time is looking at, like how long ago did we approve our last 70 passenger bus purchase, and have we gotten those buses yet? Like, how's the schedule looking, and when would we expect to get these buses?
Ms. Gibbs, I'm glad you asked that. We were actually looking at that at the office yesterday. Again, no guarantees because
Of course,
there can be
because the world, yes.
well, I mean, you also, at one point, one of the manufacturers had a strike. Another point, another anomaly was a fire at a plant. I would say 9 to 10 months is a target. We know that if we place this order this month, receiving those buses over the summer ideally gives us a chance to bring it into the fleet while we're changing over to the new school year. But again, could it slide to October, November? It's possible, but these are not off the shelf, sitting on the lot. So I think we put it basically at a 9 month approximate lead time.
That's a lot better than, I mean, when I started on this committee mumbledy years ago, I mean, we were looking at sometimes 2, 3 year lead time that they would
Yes.
promise us 10 months and then it would just be push back and push back and push back. Has the price been drastically altered by the tariff situation?
Actually, I'm glad you asked that question. I'm going back and looking. We had done 72 passenger purchase in December of 2024. And each of those buses was $203,000 each. This year they're coming in at 214,850 each. So I mean they're going up every year. Nothing's coming down.
No,
But
nothing's coming down, but that's still what, like, I'm doing
5%.
mental math, like how many
five,
percent?
five.
Yeah,
4 to 5% increase.
which feels like more than just inflation. But that's gut feeling, and I am not an economist. So, but
When we forecast, we figure the bus prices will go up 4 or 5% every year. This is
okay.
from escalation, if you will.
So yes, but not enough that it's absolutely gutting us. Okay. And oh, I had one other question. Is it gone from my brain? Yeah, oh well, that's good for now. Thank you.
Ms. Kelsey, if you would, since we're talking about
Mhm.
buses, can you
Absolutely.
advertise for
Oh,
driver hiring?
sure. Absolutely. Always happy to. For anybody in our community that is watching, we are always hiring bus drivers. It is a really fantastic way to serve your community and a great place to work. Lower Merion is a really fantastic place. It is a union job. We are an all-in union, so you're in the same union with the teachers and everybody except our highest up administrators. And we have I believe, a $4,000 signing bonus for bus drivers. And we have training available that the district will fund for you to get your CDL with an S-class certification. And it is a really fantastic place to work. And you can go to lmsd.org/jobs. Ms. Buckman, is
Bus
that right?
slash
Slash
bus.
bus. Okay. I was so close. Okay. Slash lmsd.org/bus. And you can go ahead and apply and tell them I sent you.
You can go to lmsd.org/jobs. There are other jobs listed there as well. So
Amazing. I get a gold. Okay, I get a gold star. I got it right.
I think we have a comment from the community as well, unless
You do.
Kimberly and Melanie, you
Bus
have.
driver.
I do have a curiosity question. What is the cost of maintenance per year for one bus?
I think it's like I would have to pull that exact data. It depends on the bus because there are certain the diesel engine constantly is evolving, and actually that's another benefit having newer buses. They are running cleaner. I mean, first we always purchase extended warranty, which is 7 years, 150,000 miles on these buses. So we really have minimal big repairs on the buses unless there is accident or something like that. So it all depends on the model of a bus, if it's been in any kind of accident, if that year maybe there is a defect in engine that's impacting every bus. I could look through those numbers and get you average, but again, it's dependent. We have all kind of buses in our service. We have Thomases, we have Bluebirds, and they differ.
Okay, yeah, I would be interested to see what the average is for that cost. Thank you.
We'll do.
I had one more question. I thought now that Ms. Garrison has had her question, I know we talk about this periodically because it's a big interest of mine, and I wanted to see if there had been any updates since the last time Mr. Vilsons and Mr. Lill, we talked about the potentiality of at some point having our bus fleet transition over to electric buses. And I just wanted to see what your thoughts on where we are sort of philosophically and in the world with sort of the timeline of that being able to be a possibility.
At the bus level, at that size vehicle, I mean, from my perspective, I think that market is still in its infancy. I know that electric vehicles at the passenger size is, certainly growing. And there's a whole economics and things of that nature. But I referenced like SEPTA purchased numerous electric buses, none of which they currently use. They're in litigation with a bus manufacturer that is now bankrupt. And a couple of months ago, there was a massive fire down in like the Nicetown area, and it was actually one of the unused electric buses that caught fire and basically had a number of their electric buses that were just sitting there unused.
Are they
So
not
we're
being
struggling.
used because they're
They
prone to
can't
problems? Or they like
they can't keep charge. They're too heavy. There's litigation and everything. I mean, they've had to pull a lot of those off the road. It's really been a difficult situation for them. So, you have to give, at least in my opinion, I think we have to give that market a chance to mature a little bit more because right now there's just it's just been they've been struggling.
And any of the credits that I know you and I had talked about the potentiality of credits, and that's just sort of gone even more by the wayside with the new administration, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's completely correct. There is, yeah. I mean, I used to get calls from companies all the time, and that's all has. I don't. There is very little out there to support that money wise, and that's another price of electric bus. If we're paying now $214,000 for diesel bus, it would be probably $450,000 for electric bus, and that would really probably prevent us.
Yeah.
Not even talking about changing infrastructure over. And I completely agree with Jim. Industry hasn't matured enough. It's like, okay in regular cars, but when we're transporting students, that's very important to make sure that that technology is tried and true, because we don't want to risk it. And
That's fair.
for
I mean, it's
example, yeah,
it's
example that
disappointing, not necessarily from your standpoint, but just from the sort of global standpoint that we've been having this discussion. I think I bring it up to you every year-ish.
and it may come
Um,
back. It may come back. There is like a SEPTA bus that Jim mentioned. They have Proterra batteries. That company went out of business. There was a Lion company that were making electric school buses. They went out of business. So they had sold a lot of buses. All these companies that now have those buses really technically can't use them if they break down. There is no repairs, no support, no parts because they went out of business. So there is a high risk associated besides everything else. So it's eventually it's going to be there. We just need to be patient and just wait until it's ready for this industry.
So I need to be talking to our representatives and our senator at the federal level rather than asking you on that one. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shayna. And I kind of think, Mr. Vilson, I think you mentioned too, but that they're looking at other forms of clean energy that may surpass because electrical, and we'll jump ahead because we're really limited by the batteries and what they're built and their ability. And I have seen some new research come out recently about better batteries, companies that have discovered, but it takes a while to get that to market as well. And so as we are said, we're in a waiting game. Okay.
Yeah.
We have two, Ms. Schreiber and Ms. Seltzer. Ms. Schreiber's first.
Okay. Thanks. Ms. Schreiber.
Hi, Tanya Schreiber, Penguin. And some of these might not be, you might not have answers on hand, but Mr. Vilkins always has so much in his head that I figured I'd give it a shot. I guess first I wanted to check what the size of the overall fleet was now.
135.
35
It's
buses.
okay. It's still 135. And it sounds like with depreciation, it's about $12,000 a year to run the mini buses. And then I think it's the same drivers at the same pay rate with the CDL license, no matter whether it's a tiny bus or a big bus. Do you know what the
Correct.
cost is per year, kind of per bus for just the staffing?
For just the staffing, it all depends on I would have to pull the average, or Vic could help me to pull average for staffing averages, because again, we have drivers that work 8 and 9 hours, do the late runs, and then we have drivers who work only 6 hours. So it's like I would have to have probably help from business office to put average for staffing.
Okay. And then how many outside contractor vehicles are we also using on top of this?
We use significant number for we use, and there's we have about 10 or 11 contractors that we use. Some of them are very lightly used, some of them heavily. There are contractors we use for sports or field trips or trips that happening during our school dismissal hours that we can't use our drivers for. So we use contractors for that. And then our biggest use of contractors is for special needs students. We have about, I don't want you to kind of quote me on that number, but we usually have around 60, 70 runs with the contractors for special needs. And we also transport McKinney-Vento students who are maybe residing in Philadelphia due to the misplacement and they considered homeless, and we have to bring them into the district. So about between 60 and 70 runs on average we have with special needs contractors. And sports trips wise, we do about over 2,000 runs, which some of these trips are multiple buses, but again, some of those trips, whenever we can, we do it with our drivers.
Yeah. And Mr. Vilkins, I think when you first started, if I remember, all of special ed was being handled by, I think, 8 buses, all the runs. So it's been a heck of a expansion over the last decade, right?
Yes, and the part of it is it's just that first of all the special needs population is growing. Also, unfortunately, situations are more severe. Students may need nurses, specialized equipment on their vehicles. So there may be situations where students need extra time, so that bus can't then do other schools. So we contracted out that we can use our bus to do all 3 schools instead of just going out to one school that may be 15 miles outside of district.
Mhm. And then the final question, again, when schooling first started, I think there was 5 buses dedicated to partner schooling. Do you know what that looks like now?
What we did with partner schooling, there were 2 buses purchased for specifically partner schooling because
Yeah.
when we were basing it on estimates. Right now, our routing department, who is very talented, has figured out ways to transport with our existing buses. So there is no really specific buses aligned to just the partner schooling. They have done additions and to the runs and adjustments that we can pick up those students. That one of the buses that services elementary school can go out of that attendance area, pick up kids and bring them in. So also the administration been working with us asking which schools are better to partner, which are easier for us to get. So in this combination of work from both sides, it's right now we don't have a specific buses doing just the partner schools. It's part of the regular buses.
Around how many kids right now are being partner school bused?
Oh boy, I don't know. It's constantly growing because almost as students come in, that happens. I can get you that number. I'm gonna have to ask routing to run a number. I don't want to throw out an estimate.
That's okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Wilkinson. That would be really helpful if you probably have my email. So if you could send it to me, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you,
That's all.
Tanya. Thanks, Tanya. Or Miss Shriver.
It's okay.
Seltzer next.
Michelle, Miss Seltzer.
Hi, and Adrian is fine.
Okay.
Adrian Seltzer Winwood. In speaking about, I hear you talking about electric buses all the times, but I know when you were building BlackRock, I brought up about any solar or whatever, and that was dismissed. And that technology is here. And I know you're going to be doing roofs of various schools. I'm wondering if you will consider, while you're doing the roofs, to install some solar to reduce your electric costs. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Jim, I would look to you have we considered that at all?
I think we talked. Oh, I was just going to say, and Mr. Lowe, if you want to jump in, but I think we've discussed this before, and I think it was cost prohibitive based on the costs associated with installing it and what we would have. But Mr. Lowe, if you want to jump in, if you have that information, or we can get back to Ms. Seltzer on that.
It's been looked at obviously with that type of investment, you want to look at your payback. Now, you're replacing the roofs. I mean, that has to be done regardless of whether or not, we would have any solar panels at any time in the future. I mean, there is eventually an end of life for every roof. And certainly we wouldn't want to put solar panels on a roof that may only have 3 or 4 years left, because then you got to deal with that for the roof replacement. So in theory, if you have a new roof going on a building, that at least from a roofing integrity would be an opportunity time to have the solar panels put on, because your roof will be good for 20, 30 years underneath the solar panels. From the economic standpoint, the payback that I stated up front, there was a Solar for Schools program. Some of that money was state money. I know some of the districts that pursued that are struggling because some of that money got hung up on at the state level budget issues. And if I remember correctly, some of the districts that pursued Solar for Schools and relied on state money were also relying on federal funds or federal contributions, and they are no longer exist. So it's getting harder and harder on that payback because of the fact that some of the programs that used to kind of offset those costs. Those are also struggling under the current administration.
Okay.
And have we looked into, I know in residential solar programs, there's like you can either buy it outright or the other way to do it is people do a sort of lease to own, but by the time you own it, they're sort of have reached their terminal life. Has the district looked into any of those leasing programs? Is that a thing on this sort of scale?
We have, and again, the return on investment or the payback period, we just aren't getting it to the point where it makes that fiscal financial sense.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because
It's another industry that's also struggling. And again, it's not that the technology's struggling. I don't want to make that's not
Yeah.
the point. It's I was even thinking about it with my house myself, and then kind of when I saw that a lot of the programs dried up, it really doesn't have it would have been a lot more financially challenging. And just as I'm going through this, there was a question about 21 passenger buses. Mr. Vilson's was correct. Currently, we only own 2, and those 2 are scheduled to be replaced with the purchase of the 3 30 passenger buses on this agenda.
Can I ask one more
Thank
solar
you
question
very much.
before we move on? Oh, sorry, Adrian. Can I ask one more
Yeah.
solar question before we crash on? Does the district ever look at like if we have a small external thing that we need to run, having like a single thing? Because I'm thinking of like when the police have like one of those flashing lights or something that they have a single panel for. I'm thinking of if like say the lighting on a certain field needed to be replaced or made permanent, or when we were establishing it, if it would be possible or it had been considered to include some sort of solar powering just for an individual item, or if that is also cost prohibitive, because I know these things are expensive and I know the technology exists, but I don't know the cost benefit analysis on them.
I mean, at that scale, that is very common. Sitting right out in front of Lower Merion High School right now is a township traffic alert sign that's on wheels.
Yes.
It's currently telling people to avoid Anderson Avenue.
Yes.
That does have one of those solar banks on it. And I know they usually do pretty well with the battery life. Although I did drive by at one point last week, the battery was dead. But Ms. Kalis, to your point, on a small installation like that, I think that's a lot more feasible. We don't really have any of those coming up right now because we're not replacing any pathway lighting at the time. It's something we can certainly consider if we're in the market for that type of an electrical installation.
Yeah, I think especially if it were a possibility for field lighting projects, and if that could help us not have to pull electrical. I don't know if that would be different or feasible or financially feasible.
Right, there's different scales.
Yeah,
we
Ms.
can look
Seltzer had
at-
a good idea, and I thought I would put a bug in your ear to follow that track, and that's all I got.
And you look at it case by case with the scale, the payback,
course.
and the application itself is, I guess, what I'm trying to say. But
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah. I guess I'm curious about, and then I'll get us back on track, is that has there been, if any studies do come out, whether having solar panels on a roof does extend the life of a roof, or does it reduce the life of the roof, or has it any effect on the roofing?
I mean, if it's installed correctly, it shouldn't hurt the roof. You can argue maybe it protects a portion of the roof because that's what's getting hit with the sun and the rain. I think it's the kind of thing where, as long as we have the structural load to support the extra weight, it certainly would not hurt the roof.
Yeah.
But no matter how you look at it, a roof is exposed to the elements every day, 365 days a year. So when you get through freeze, thaw, and everything else, it's certainly not going to extend it dramatically, although protect it obviously from some solar rays because that'll be picked up by the solar cells.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. And while I still have you on there, is there anything else on the purchasing report below this?
There's a number 3 and a number 4, which would have Mr. Pitt speaking to it. So if you're good.
Yeah, let's move along then, please.
Good morning. Item 3 is still dealing with vehicles. It's a maintenance van 214. It was a 2013 E250 Econoline. It was recommended the pricing from Honda Ford for one Ford Transit T250 cargo van under CoStar's 026 E22387 be approved in the amount of $55,995. And I will pause at this point for any questions on this item before we get into the really big ticket item.
Yeah. Any questions from the board?
Is a replacement vehicle?
Yes.
What kinds of things do you, what department is it?
This is a maintenance vehicle. This is the specifically the van for our mechanic that does a lot of the PMs and filter changes. It's an
What is
extended
PMs?
wheelbase van that basically can have the capacity of volume to carry all of the filters from building to building.
Great. What does PMs stand for?
Preventive maintenance.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
And Ms. Kalish, the current T14 was actually sitting in the Rock Hill lot. I was talking to the mechanic, and T14 is certainly, we've gotten our money's worth out of it. It's definitely getting towards end of life in terms of the current 2013 van that we put into service on June 28th of 2013. So we'll probably be trading that van in sometime around its 13th birthday.
Seems like a hardworking truck, and
They are workhorses.
13 years of being a maintenance truck sounds like it's time for it to go to its great junkyard in the sky.
Okay. Okay, so if I don't see any questions from the community, are we good to move on to the number 4 item, the big ticket item?
Yes, Mel.
This is phase 2 of the Bala-Cynwyd roof project. As you know that we did phase 1 last year, which was the Bryn Mawr side for the most part. This will constitute the Manayunk side, the main gym, and some of the smaller roofs that were not done to phase 1. This will complete the roof project for Bala-Cynwyd. It is recommended the pricing from Weatherproofing Technologies for the major roof replacement phase 2 at Bala-Cynwyd Middle School under a KPN contract, KPN A 250D, be approved in the amount of $4,039,308.67.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
When do
No,
you
thank you.
plan to have the work on this being done?
So they will do setup at the end of the school year and conduct it basically between the last day of school and the week the teachers come back in August. Very tight window. That's one of the reasons we phased Bala-Cynwyd into 2 steps, as well as the just the overall cost. But we were very successful last year getting everything phased in properly. And basically had everything gone by the time the teachers were back.
And this pricing is the same as we estimated it when we first got the first round of quotes, or has it gone up during the completion of phase 1?
It has gone down versus phase 1.
Bless.
If you look on a cost per square foot for the 2 projects, phase 1 was $111 per square foot. This is just over $100 square foot. A lot of reasons for that in terms of flashings, metals. Phase 1 encompassed all of the sloped roof areas, which were more difficult to do. Because of the flatter nature of the Manayunk side, we're able to do a hot applied roof, hot tar versus a cold applied mastic, which is a lot more labor intensive. So actually this price came in lower than we were anticipating. We're basing it on a square foot cost of last year's project. Came in much more favorable for us.
Fantastic. And is this is something that we have scheduled in our budgeting, and we have the flexibility to do this just because it's a massive outlay?
So I can of course leave the final financing to Mr. Orlando, but
Of course.
there are liquidations of real estate that we are looking at. There's capital transfers and as well as shifting budgets from capital to capital reserve or reserve budgets. I'm sure that will all get worked out in the budget process this spring.
Okay, thank you.
And Ms. Gales, just from a physical installation standpoint, I do want to recognize and applaud Mr. Pitts with working through Bala-Cynwyd. That's a tough building roofing wise. I was looking at those building plans, and that's one of those buildings that's kind of had 2 or 3 different rounds of renovations, additions, if you will. And you basically have like 18 different roofs at 16 different elevations, trying to mesh together at 15 different places. So This is definitely an area Mr. Pitts has a lot of experience in, and it's certainly a challenge when you don't have just a flat roof that covers 100,000 square feet. This roof's all over the place, up and down, and broken into a lot of different sections, and it's been halfway there.
While we're talking about Bala Cynwyd Middle School at Manayunk Road, people drive crazy fast on Manayunk Road. I know we have now had a new sign say in the crosswalk to walk slowly. It is very difficult. I know you and I have discussed this before, very difficult to see out of Greenway Lane, which intersects right at that back bus circle. And I was hoping that while we were working over there, we might be able to get one of those convex mirrors on the little planting island there so that one could see when somebody decides to zoom up Manayunk Road at 45 miles an hour.
So I can pass that along to our contacts at the Long Island Police Traffic Safety Unit. I know they've been specifically looking at that intersection. And the one thing I would caution, and again, this is out of respect for the township, anything that would involve a township roadway obviously would be something that, the township would be involved in.
Absolutely.
Because I know they're looking at some various options and collecting data. And I have had conversations with their traffic safety unit, and they certainly have the expertise and the knowledge to try to figure out, some traffic mitigation, I think they call it.
Yeah, I only mentioned it because to do that kind of mirroring, the mirror would have to be placed on district property.
Understood.
Okay, thank you. That's my 2 cents, my personal request.
Okay.
And if I may, one more comment on the solar power.
Mhm.
Solar panels have both a positive and negative effect. When it comes to roofs, their two enemies are primarily sun and rain. Sun heats them up, makes them stretchy. Rain obviously can degrade. Solar panels would be a 50-50. It would cut down on the UV radiation on certain aspects of the roof, but also would cause two-dimensional heating. They also would stop the sun from fighting the other enemy on the rain of helping to dry out roofs. So it's kind of a wash. There's both arguments for they extend the roof and they also can cause more problems. So the industry-wise, the thought is as long as the structure will support it and it makes good financial sense, which it hasn't for us in the past. Solar panels are not really a big impact on a newer or restored roof.
Thank you, Mr. Pitts, for adding that extra information and for your work on the roof. I'm assuming, are there any other questions from the board? And I'm not seeing any hands raised in the community area. Okay. Okay, so if we're good to go, are we okay to move the purchasing report forward?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thanks, Mel.
Okay, moving to the next item on the list or the agenda.
This is Mainline School for the upcoming spring of 2026 license agreement. It's generally the same terms that they currently have in place. It's just different dates. Obviously, it's just the spring, so it's the same contract, just the new dates. Which goes, I think, March 3rd through April 21st of 2026.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Orlando. That's something that we have. It seems like every twice a year. Yeah, so it's a standard agreement. So, any questions from the board on this?
No, thank you.
Okay, are we good to move this forward? Or I don't see any questions from the community. So if that, we're good to move this forward.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Next, robotic scrubber. And it's Mr. Pitts again. Thank you.
Correct.
Again, thank you. This is an extension of the service and technology contract for robotic scrubber that we bought 3 years ago. When we bought it at that time, it included 3 years of technology upgrades and service. We are recommending a 2-year extension of those services. 1 year would cost us 6,000. If we agree to a 2 year, they will hold the price for those 2 years, providing us a discount for the second year, expecting that it would go up.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board?
Can you explain what a robotic scrubber is? Because my brain is just conjuring like an industrial sized Roomba.
That's a good analysis.
Okay.
It is a device that is a scrubber. If you understand what a auto scrubber is, it basically has
That's
a
the kind
clean
of thing
panel
that like a
behind it.
janitor would hold the handles and would like polish the
Right.
floors and stuff. Okay.
Correct. So this takes the janitor away from actually being with the machine. It basically is given a program, can run up and down the hallways or large areas, has sensors that will move it around chairs or desks that might be in the hallway. And when it completes its service, it doesn't just return back to the charger. It will go to, for example, an elevator, send a text to the custodian and say, I'm ready. Custodian now puts it on the elevator, moves it to the next floor, and it does its operation on the next floor. Basically,
That is wild and very cool.
yeah, I mean, it is to your point, it's an industrial Roomba, but it has a upscale capabilities as opposed to just I'm going to keep zigzagging back and forth until I think I'm done.
That sounds great. I know our custodians work incredibly hard, and I'm thrilled that they can work collaboratively in this way.
And Ms. Gillis, many of the facilities directors have actually been talking about this topic, around the various school districts. And I can't say every school district, but there's a pretty strong number of districts in the area that have at least one of these robotic scrubbers, different manufacturers, but it's becoming more and more common, and it is good for the hallway type areas Mr. Pitts describes, so that the custodians can focus on things like classrooms, bathrooms, and those types of areas.
We just have one. Does it like rotate through the different buildings, or is there one for
No.
every building?
It's currently at Bauer Kinwood, and we moved it over there based on some staffing adjustments that we made before the start of the school year.
Okay.
And that was with some of the flexibility it gave us in terms of staffing.
Great.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions, or are we good to move this forward?
Good to go.
Good to go.
Yeah.
Me
Great.
too.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And I believe that's the last item on our thing. Was there anything, oh, we have a question from Michelle Vessel. Do you have a question about the scrubber, or are you,
No, I was waiting for the end because it's not about the scrubber. I have just kind of got some feedback about something that was on last month's meeting. It's in regards to the Kinwood Club renewal and how the price went up for the squash. Okay, so the feedback I received was from the booster parents for that club, was that last year when they signed the contract for this year, the contract hours were never changed. And with our school start time changes, basically the contract is for 3 o'clock till 4:30 is what we're being charged for. And the students don't get there. I mean, maybe the earliest is 3:45. So they're being charged from 3 to 4:30. The price went up, but they never changed the hours. So she feels that should be relooked at because they're making money. Like if we're going to be paying more and we're getting less hours. So she just wanted me to let you guys know that.
Yeah, we actually did get into that conversation at the last meeting.
Sorry.
Yeah, but it sounds like they're from what I understood, correct me if I'm wrong, that this is the hours we get and these are the hours we get.
They were unwilling to. My understanding is that they're the only place locally that would rent us squash courts at all, and that they would not rent us a shorter amount of time because they wanted to be guaranteed the money they were being guaranteed, and they have another use of the court so they have a hard stop, so they wouldn't let us adjust it later. And so my understanding, and anyone in the administration can correct me if I'm wrong, is that it was this or nothing.
Yeah, that is
You're
correct.
exactly right, Ms. Kalish.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Anelli. So if anybody finds any other courts that we can use, report back. We would love it.
Absolutely, please.
Thank you. I'll let them know that. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
You
We
have
have
one
another.
more- Yeah, go ahead.
We have another person, Brett Ferber.
Hi, good morning. I'm inquiring. My name's Brett Ferber. I'm from Marion Station. I'm just inquiring about the status of the lighted stadium project at Arnold Field for Lower Marion High School. As I'm sure members of the committee know, the township and the school district reached a settlement a year ago to allow this project to move forward. And that means the Wynwood Civic Association and Township approved the stadium as was put forth in the settlement and a blueprint attached. I guess I'm just interested. I kind of have two questions. First is sort of just a learning, I guess, exercise for the community, because I have many parents, coaches, student athletes interested in, I guess, what hurdles remain at preventing this project from moving forward. And I guess secondly, what does this committee need to do for, as I would assume this is a capital improvement, in order to advance the project towards construction?
Yeah, thanks for the question. That's it is part of our capital improvement, and I have to say we all worked hard to get this to a point where it can be on our capital improvement plan. But it does come. If you look at that plan, there are a lot of other capital improvement projects, each one competing with different priorities. Like a leaking roof takes a priority. So basically it comes down to finding the allocations of funding to push this project forward.
Dr. Ranelli, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in full transparency, I had a conversation with Mr. Ferber, and it was a very pleasant conversation. A great question, right? We took some time and some resources to be able to have the right to do this. And now we sit in a spot that we can do this. But you asked Mr. Ferber, what is the hurdle? And it is finances. So, basically, we need to be either creative or look to borrow some money or things like that. And in all honesty, we've had that discussion with the board, and we're still deciding whether or not we do that this year or move forward in another way. There are other things on the list, as you can imagine, right, in the township that happen. But this is a very worthwhile conversation, and one question that I had as well when I entered the district. So that's kind of where we are. But I appreciate the information. And if anybody has any questions or comments in the community, please let them know to contact me directly. I would be more than happy to answer questions and not make any promises, but keep everybody abreast of where we are in that conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I guess what this is very helpful. Thank you. I think again, and I'm sort of in the process. I think candidly, the community is so unaware, and I'm talking about the actual coaches at the high school, that this settlement was reached a year ago. I've talked to many stakeholders in the last few days who are just almost like dumbfounded that we had actually gotten the ball so far towards the goal line, pun intended. I guess just so I'm clear, because I'm going to be speaking to a lot of these people, and I think the board and members will be hearing from them very shortly. There are no legal hurdles then. There's no neighbor filed an injunction against the settlement that's already in place, other than, which I understand, budgeting. I get that. I know this isn't just like a project that happens overnight. But other than allocating the resources to get this done and making it a priority, there's nothing preventing the school board and the school district at this point from moving the project forward. I understand it's a big nothing, but there's no one else who's filed some legal complaint that's preventing us from moving forward.
Mr. Orlando, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Ferber, you're correct. We are in that spot where we have the ability and the right to do what we fought to do.
Yes, that's correct. The courts just approved the agreement. Had to go through the courts finally. That was approved, I think, the end of this past summer. So all the legal hurdles have been satisfied.
And Mr. Orlando, I don't know if you would have the answer to this, but can you give me an approximation of how much we've spent on legal fees to get the ball this far?
I don't have that available right now. I can get that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Just so I know we've talked about this before, Dr. Anelli, if you could just indicate how much would it cost to move forward with this project, just so that the community is aware of it.
Yeah, so again, we don't have specific architectural drawings, which would talk about the infrastructure of lighting and drainage and things like that. But the architectural markup cost, I don't know the terminology there, but when they give us, okay, this is a drawing, this is a mock-up drawing, and this is what it will cost. It was between the $8 and $9 million range. Mr. Orlando, am I correct in saying that?
It's probably reasonable, yes.
Yep. So again, at this point, what would happen next would be us contracting an architect, and obviously in conjunction with the township, us contacting an architect to get specific drawings, which would then go out to a contractor to get specific pricing, things like that.
And forgive my ignorance on this issue, but again, I have these interested community members. Mm-hmm. For those of us who don't know the inner workings of how the school board makes such a large capital improvement, what is it we have to do to implore them to act? I understand mobilizing, and I think you'll be hearing from us shortly, but I guess my question is literally what's the next step? The full school board has to vote on hiring an architect. What's the literal next step in order to get this project?
Yeah, so we'd have to identify, we'd have to identify where we would get the funding, right? And once we did that, then the board would vote on a recommendation to move forward to allocate that funding toward, this project. And then we would put the bids out on the street. That's what the terminology is in Vic's world, right? For architects and contractors to bid on it and things like that. So you are doing exactly what a community member would do to get answers about a project or a potential project. And continue to do that, and we'll continue to work on the answers for you.
All right. Thank you.
And
yeah, you're welcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Dr. Ranelli, just so I could bring context in terms of timing, I was able to find the file. The settlement agreement that Mr. Ferber referenced, it was approved by the Court of Common Pleas on August 7th, 2025. So Mr. Ferber, I know you referenced, about a year ago, which in context is accurate. I think the school board voted to enter into the settlement maybe a year or two ago. I think the Township Board of Commissioners may have took action on that maybe at some point in 2024-ish. But because of the fact it was, multiple parties, Mr. Ferber, and, it had to be put through the courts and approved by Judge Carl Lucio, that actual order was signed by the courts August 7th, 2025. So that's kind of where we are with the timeline. It did take a number of steps with a number of different courts and jurisdictions and things of that nature, but thank you for bringing it up. And it is something that has been on different agendas a year ago, 2 years ago, at both the township and school board level.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Adrian Seltzer, you have a question?
Thank you for your patience while I find the mute button. So with Mr. Farber talking about lights and on a football field or a field, because I know it's multi-use. I am more concerned about class size and the roofs that actually house the students, and to bring up something, the term isn't frivolous, but to bring up something that is a luxury item. Maybe him and the other people who want these lights in the field can start doing some fundraising for it, because I'd rather my tax dollars go to students and the maintenance of the buildings.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Seltzer.
Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay. I believe that is it. Unless Dr. Ranelli or anybody, did you have anything you wanted to say at the end of this meeting?
Nope, not today.
Okay, thank you so much.
I just want to take 1 minute. Sorry. I know that we're late, but I do want to thank, this is the last meeting for Melanie and Kimberly. And I just wanted to thank them both. It's been a complete pleasure. They're phenomenal. And this committee wouldn't be the same without the two of them. So I just want to take a minute to really identify the two of them and all the efforts that they've taken over the last couple of years to make sure that facilities and purchasing is the committee that really has been doing such wonderful work. So thank you again for everything. We can't thank you enough, and we only wish you the best.
Yeah. Thanks, Jason, for this.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah. No, and I have to say, facilities and purchasing is dear to my heart from my background. So I'm going to miss it. And thank you, everybody, for everybody who has supported us and supported the board and all your hard work you've done to move things forward and make things better for the students. So I appreciate it. Thanks. And so I will close out this meeting with gratitude. And the next meeting will be sadly without me on December.
You're welcome to still tune in.
You can still attend, Melanie.
I'll be at work now. Kim, without both me and Kimberly. I'll say thank you. And the next meeting will be December 11th at say 9:30 online. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.